Ready? 3, 2. Hey guys, this is Andres.
This is Kevin.
And welcome back to Brick by Brick. Today I wanted to talk about why not taking risks is keeping you broke. And I think the biggest reason and one of the biggest deterrents from starting to grow businesses or starting to invest and put that money aside or starting your own YouTube channel or your own form of content creation, the biggest deterrent of that is being nervous and being afraid of what other people might think, what other people might say, or to fail, to do it, not be good at it, and at the end of the day, fail.
Would you say the average person is what you mentioned is the reason why they don't do it in the first place?
I think it is, and like I've been guilty of it. There was a very big period, like when I was about to buy the house, where I was nervous. I was nervous to do it. I was nervous about like not doing the right moves, and it just, you keep overthinking, and sometimes even like right then and there I was going to buy my car, and like a really expensive car, and the reason I didn't do it is because I realized that I didn't actually care what other people thought, because that's the biggest reason why people get cars, to impress other people and make them think that you have money you don't, when the other people you're trying to impress are not in a place where you will even want to be in the first place.
That's right. He did right. You were driving what were you driving? Nissan Versa.
Nissan Versa.
It was we called it the Turtle.
Yeah, it was a 2016. Now I'm driving an even worse car because I know it's going to save me money. I'm driving, well, not a worse car, but an older car. It's an older car with twice the miles.
Really?
It's the Versa was a 2016, and the Honda Accord that I'm driving right now is a 2009.
I'm gonna ask Assad if he could, our editor. I'm gonna ask him if he could put a picture of the car that you were driving before. And you know what? I'll send him my picture as well, like the car that I was driving before as well, so that you can tell, like, yeah, we did not care what people thought.
Yeah. But like at first you do, and when you start having opportunities, you start caring a little bit more because you have more leverage and more opportunities. But I think that's it. That's a big deterrent. People don't take risks because of fear. And at the end of the day, that like taking the risk is what is going to make you money or make you successful in whatever you want. Like, to give you an example, us that we're like making YouTube videos or trying to invest as much as we can. And yes, it's difficult and it's scary, like not being successful. But well, you've heard this quote from Alex Ramosi: if you're willing to suck at something for 100 days in a row, you're going to outperform 99% of people. Like, that's just proof that a lot of people quit before even failing because they're scared of failing. Because let's say, like with the house, I could have easily picked up, like at the beginning of the first 3 months, I was probably like $10,000 down on, no, a little bit less, like $6,000 down in my savings. I could have easily said, no, I can't do this. This is hard, and sold it. Like, that would have been really easy, and it would have been risk-free, and it would have put me back in the position where I started. But I decided to stick with it. And like a year and a half later, I'm finally realizing that it's becoming easier. It's taking care of, like in a few months, it should be taking care of itself. It was never as difficult as it was in that moment. So stuck through it the 100 days, I think. Right. Yeah, because it's been more than a year and a half. I stuck to it. I sucked at owning a house for around 400 days plus. So yeah. I think that just builds skill. It builds callous in what you do, and I think that experience is going to set me up for the future.
It kind of gives you like a benchmark, right? It's like I've been through, this is the lowest I've been. I know like how low I can go now, because if you didn't go through that situation, it would have been like you would be a little bit scared, a little bit anxious, right? But now knowing like how low you can go, that kind of sets your mind in a different tone, where it's like, okay, I know that this is my lowest, so I know that if I do, a little bit worse, but not as low as that, I'll be fine. Like I can tolerate that, right? And it's basically not taking a risk is not getting a high reward, right? I don't know if you've ever heard of that example of that person that's like, oh, like, do you know, like how much you're losing in terms of money, and the person's like, no, well, I make like 50K a month, and then the guy's like, no, this is what you're missing. So he gets out of a million, he subtracts 50,000.
Yeah.
So it's like 950K
That's
left.
what you're losing.
That's what you're losing by not, taking a risk. And it's a little bit nerve wracking, and I understand why people don't want to do it. But if you don't risk, you're just not going to win. Even if you're not where you want to be, you have to at least try and achieve something close to it, and little by little you'll start believing it. Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah, 100%. And I think I don't know if you heard of this principle of, I forgot where I've heard it. I think I read it in the book we're reading in Think and Grow Rich. It's about turning 0 into 1. The moment you go from nothing to the smallest amount of experience, like you realize that it's not impossible. I don't know if that makes sense. I don't know if it was that book that I read it in, but I read it somewhere. And it goes into detail of like, hey, like you've never done this, you've never had this experience, but the moment, like right now, it seems impossible. Like, let's put you for an example, Jeff Bezos. Like, it was probably super difficult to start Amazon, and it was nerve wracking, and it was.
Can you imagine? Like, it had never been done before.
It was at 0, yeah. And the moment he probably started monetizing in it, he just kept going and kept going, because if he had stopped at any point, because I don't, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think it was easy at any point in that journey. If he would have stopped at any point there, it wouldn't have become what it is now.
100%. And there's all like other good examples are like some YouTubers I used to watch. I remember this guy specifically. He is a soccer player actually. His name is Become Elite. And then I remember that he tells a story about like YouTube, how he started YouTube, and he just started making videos. He was like, well, I want to have a side hustle or something while I'm like doing soccer, because soccer you're practicing like while you're in the field, right? So when you're off of it, you have time. And this guy's like, well, I didn't believe that much in it. I was just doing it until I got my first paycheck from YouTube, and it was like 25 cents. It was like something very small, but he was like super excited. And he tells the story where he's like, well, I told my girlfriend like, hey, look, I got my first paycheck. And then the girlfriend was like, oh, nice, how much? 25 cents. I'm like, what the heck? Why are you excited for 25 cents? But it was the story behind it. It was the intention what led to that moment.
I can relate to that, because when I got my first sales job and I looked at it and I went in, I went from making $10 an hour to like getting $700 paychecks when I was doing 40 hours a week. What's 4 times 7? That's 28. Yeah, it wasn't even 700. I think to hit the 700, I was having to work a bunch of overtime. Mm-hmm. So that was probably around 300 that I was making when I was working 40 hours a week at Cane's. And going from that into sales, that was like the going from 0 to 1 when I saw my first $1,300 paycheck.
Yeah, you were like, whoa.
Yeah, and that was like with low commissions. That was being at the bottom. Like that was the 0 to 1. I was like, I can make this and I can make more. And that was a really big turning point for me mentally, because yes, it was a lot of money, but it was also a realization that you can make more than what you used to.
Like the ceiling is higher than
what you thought. Yeah, it unlocks that, and I'm sure like when we start a business, it's going to be that same.
It's going to be the exact same thing.
It's going to be difficult at first, and then as we get experience, as we get knowledge, it's going to become easier, and it's just going to become second nature slowly.
In terms of YouTube and our channel, I think I already hit that with the reel. Remember how excited I was?
Yeah.
I feel like that's when I hit it.
I don't think so, because like we're not successful.
I'm pretty sure for you, because you had you had TikTok.
Right. Yeah.
Your ceiling is, to put it that way, your ceiling is a little bit higher in that regard. But I had never physically like seen it happen.
Yeah.
So it was like
it was a groundbreaking moment. How long have you not had social media for?
Dude, I don't know. At this point, I don't know. I think for like what? I think it's like 3 years.
3 years?
I'm about to hit 3. No, I already hit 3 years. Maybe getting to 4. Yeah. So it's like kind of at the time when I met my girlfriend.
Did you ever have it when TikToks first started to pop off, or was it still Musically?
I remember having it when it went from Musically. I didn't use it when it was Musically. Then it went to TikTok, and then it started popping up. Then,
Yeah.
and that's when I started it. But I would only use it for memes. It was such a waste of time.
Did you also have that turning point when you went into sales?
How so?
Like mentally, like
Or
were you,
I had
or
it.
was it when you changed jobs?
That was one of them when I changed job. When I saw my first like decent check, that it was like twice what I made.
Here in the new job?
Yeah, the new job versus what I made over there. I was like,
that was like the brain unlocked moment.
and it wasn't when I got the check. It was when I was like when I knew what I was gonna get.
Yeah.
I'll give you an example, because how our stuff works is like, well, you get just like every sales job, at least most of
your
them.
commission gets put out.
Your commission gets until next month, right? And you're able to see like what you're gonna get when by the end of the month. It's like it's not like live, but it's like really updated.
Yeah.
So by the end of the month, kind of towards the end of the month, I was like, I gotta push, and I did achieve that like next tier, and well, it jumped a significant amount from what I was gonna get, and I was like, whoa, and I was like, hopefully it stays like that, it doesn't move, and it didn't move.
Was it difficult or scary for you going from the insurance that you already knew into a new territory? Like,
yeah, I mean, and this ties back to our first point, which is no risk equals no high reward, right? If I would have stayed at that place, right, and I love it, I really do, because it taught me a lot. But if I would have not went from where I used to work to this new place, my ceiling would have still been here, right? And when I moved, well, I went like that.
Yeah, that's how I feel too. I think it's because we were before we went into insurance, we were both in such different places. Like my floor was here and my ceiling was like here, and then
mine was in the floor, bro. Like right here.
It's super different, but I think we are where we are, and we have the opportunities that we do today because we've been willing to take risks. So that's exactly why not taking risks is keeping you broke.
And second point to that is that if I would have not done that, if I would have not went to sales, if I would have not done anything in my life, I'd probably be still like probably working fast food, or doing something that wasn't really well paid.
Yeah.
I did construction as well for a company, and I think at the time we got paid like $12 an hour. And dude, that was labor.
I hope that's more now.
I think it has gone up by like $2, bro.
That's
nothing.
Crazy.
Yeah, it's nuts. But a lot of people there, what I was looking, and it served me good because I would look at all the men that were there, and most of them like just didn't look like they wanted to. Not that they didn't want to live, but they were just running through.
They didn't have drive. Yeah.
It was like time was just passing by. To me, it was like I was the guy that was like trying my best to go up in positions, and people were just working. They weren't actually trying to achieve something higher, and I was the one that trying to make it happen. And then until like you would see there were favorites and stuff, perhaps maybe that's why they didn't try. And I was like, nah. And so that's when I started looking for another job. But what I was gonna say though was that your missed opportunities do compound over time. There's a really good example that I read from Atomic Habits, is that if you get a plane from, I believe it's New York, right? And you point it in the direction of California, right? And instead of, you going straight, you tilt it 1 degree to the left. Instead of you ending in California, you'll end up in, what's below?
Let's just say you'll end up in China.
Baja California. I forgot what the name is in English, but you'll end up in Mexico versus California. So it's like, this little changes you might not notice. These little changes might be shaping your life already. And it's like, you got to really look at what you're doing and what your habits are. If not, you'll end up somewhere completely different where you didn't want to be. Yeah. And I think that's why it's keeping you broke, because you haven't realized that you're doing the same old habits. You might think you're improving, but if you're if you really, really dig in and see what your habits have done to you, you'll realize that you're literally stuck in a cycle, and it's just you're moving further and further and further from your goal because people are working harder, harder, harder. The gap is increasing, increasing, and
Yeah.
eventually you'll be at the no point of return.
Did you ever feel stuck?
I think that's what
Where or what did that look like for
it
you?
was when I was before I got the job in the bank.
Yeah.
When I was doing the construction, dude, I was getting paid like $400 per week. It was like poor, and I remember they at the company that I was working at. At the time I got paid like $12, and then this was another manufacturing company, but they made such a big deal about this raise that they were gonna give, and like they made the lady that was our boss wrote the numbers down and gave it to everyone. They didn't want to let us look at it, right?
Yeah.
And then, well, I was excited. I was like, wow, well, what's going to be our raise? I was really excited. And when I opened the little, it was a sticky note. She gave the sticky note to everyone, and it was closed. And then she's like, all right, you guys can open them now. And I took a look at I remember opening it. I was like, dude, I'm expecting $2, $3. And I opened it, and it was like 50 cents. I was like, dude, that was such a defeating moment. And at that point, I was like, dude, like I'm doing something wrong. First thing I did was I blamed myself. I was like, I'm doing something wrong. Like, people are getting raises of like to like tens of thousands of dollars. Why am I not getting that? Right? Like, I'm doing something wrong. And yeah, that's what triggered it. I don't know if you had one of those moments maybe before you started like working at Dish.
Mine was when I was working there.
When you were working at Dish?
I felt stuck because everything, like the motions were becoming easy. I was becoming comfortable in a place where I like life was good,
Mm-hmm.
but it was comfortable, and that's the whole reason I left, because I was too comfortable. So much so that I took a pay cut and then took an expense increase, and like I think it becoming repetitive at that easy level, it's boring. And when I went into a more difficult situation, it began like it felt better. It felt more rewarding to have to try harder. I don't know if that makes sense.
It does.
Is that a little insane?
No, that makes perfect. I mean, to me, it makes sense. I don't know what
Yeah.
people might think, but
I think it was about the challenge.
It's because that's the thing. Like,
It was fun.
you were not doing it for the money. You were doing it for the experience.
Yeah.
Right. It was like, well, I want to try something new, and you know who reminds me a lot of that is David Goggins. Because what he did is, because I've read this book for like twice.
I'd never have.
It's
What is
great.
it?
It's great. It's called Can't Hurt Me. It's really good. But David Goggins is like I think he started at the Navy SEALs, and then I think he got all the way to like just a really high rank, right? And then he was like, "Oh, I'm letting, excuse my French, I'm letting the bitch in me." Like,
Excuse my French is insane.
I'm letting the bitch in me get comfortable again. So instead of him like staying at the top, he went to another part of
Another
the
branch.
like another branch, yeah. And then he would start from the bottom, literally from the bottom, and then climb up, and then again. And he explains that to him, it was like stopping his inner bitch. And that pretty much, I mean, dude, the guy's a multi-millionaire now.
Yeah.
Like, if he would have stayed at that Navy SEALs, like right at the top, he probably wouldn't be a millionaire.
And I think being comfortable with discomfort is what makes you again comfortable with taking the risks that are going to skyrocket you to the top.
Mm-hmm. And that's literally his motto. Is like, you gotta be uncomfortable with the comfortable.
With the comfortable?
Yeah, you gotta be
Uncomfortable
with
with being comfortable. Yeah.
or vice versa.
Okay.
Whichever you
No,
want.
I hear that. I get that.
And that is true, because then you're basically trading your security versus stagnation. You know what I mean? So what I mean by that is that yes, it's less risky, but it won't compound too much. That's what I mean by stagnation. If you're not doing something that like tests you, you're not really improving, right? You're not growing as a person. You're not growing as a boyfriend. You're not growing as a husband, as a father, whatever you are, kid or son, whatever. you're basically just stagnating.
You're there.
You're just there. You're just existing, right? Versus actually doing something uncomfortable and growing.
Yeah, and I think that's a lot of what makes successful people, being in a place of discomfort, because it's discomfort is not bad for you, it's just challenging. It's a challenge that you have to take to move to the next level. It's like a video game.
Mm-hmm.
Like you're playing, you're trying to get to the next level, and of course it's gonna be harder than the last one because you're gaining more skill. It needs to be harder if you want to get to the next step. If not,
Literally.
everybody would do it.
And then would it be easy? Then it wouldn't be worth nothing, right? And so fear costs more than failure, because failure is at least teaching you something, versus fear just again to the stagnation, right? And going back to that example is like if you're fearing, you're staying on the sidewalk, versus you could have gone to the street and then maybe gone somewhere instead of just going straight. What made you feel, or I guess what was the last time that you felt stagnant in one part of your life that you were like, I need to improve in this now?
It was when it was when I left work.
Which
When I
work?
left
The last one?
Yeah, no, before that.
Oh.
When I was working cable, I was so comfortable with emotions, and it was like it was not challenging. It was not mentally challenging enough. Man, I don't know. Like it just didn't feel right to not be in a challenging place. I feel like being uncomfortable is what makes life fun. Again, back to the video game example. If the game is too easy, is it fun? Are you enjoying it?
It's like that's why people get bored with cheats. When I used to play like Grand Theft Auto and stuff like that, I would use the cheats, with the control and stuff. Then I would, within like 5 minutes, I'd be bored of doing that. But what I really liked was the story of the game. I think that's a great example. It's like you rather, go through the story, struggle a little bit with the character and learn about the character and all that. And then when you finish the game, you feel like a sense of relief, right? It's like, oh, wow, I went through the whole game, versus
it's more rewarding too if it's difficult.
Exactly. Versus just using the cheats, you're just basically stagnant. Again, dude, I hate that word with a passion.
You hate that word?
Stagnant. Like when you're stagnant or stagnation, that's a bad word. At least in my opinion.
It's a bad word.
But I mean, what is something else that you feel like people like struggle with, or that doesn't let them grow, besides fear and being comfortable?
Things that stop growth other than that, I think being around the wrong people that don't have.
That's a good point. That's a great point.
Yeah, I think people that don't have the same motivation as you do slow you down. I think from going to hey, let's hang out, let's do this, that doesn't contribute at all to your goals. And yeah, you can be friends with those kind of people, but as long as you're not letting them have an impact in your productivity. For example, with me, it's 7:42 right now. I was locked in my office from 6:30 a.m. all the way to 6 p.m. because I just wanted to work. Like I think I took 15-20 minutes off to take my girlfriend to work, and then I came back, locked myself in again.
That's literally it. That's the key to being successful. And I was exactly the same way, except I took like an hour for lunch.
I was talking about this with my coworkers, and we were talking about what we do to manage the work from home experience better and how like you interact with people.
Were you talking to my boy? What's his name? 20-year-old guy.
Jack Porch.
Jack Porch, yeah.
No, we were talking like everyone in the group, because the people in the office were gonna get moved to work from home. And we were talking about like strategies that the people that already are full-time work from home, what we do to like stay active or like keep human interaction. And I was like, I lock myself in my office from 6 a.m. to like 6 p.m. on a good day. My only two human interactions are the podcast, going with my family, and my girlfriend that lives with me. So,
dude, that's like horrible advice for the average person. That's cool.
But I think
that makes you uncommon.
I think it's really good advice though.
For you.
Yeah, for everyone. Everyone should do that. Everyone should lock
That's
themselves.
that's the thing though. Not everyone is
Not everyone wants to,
driven. Yeah.
but it's what'll push you.
Dude,
to
that's
grow
what's
better.
gonna make you successful. And I'm telling you this because if someone's hearing that and they relate to like that exact same thing or situation where like you're going from the physical, being at an office versus going into home. It's like what people wanna hear is like, oh no, I go every 10 minutes of every hour. I get up and stretch and meditate, go outside, run around the block, whatever. But in reality, they don't realize that. Again, they're sacrificing their mental well-being, their comfortableness for, something that it's not gonna pay as much dividends. So that's what I'm saying. Like I assure you, like at least one person thought, dude, I'm not gonna do that. I assure you, bro.
Yeah. But usually, like what I do if I'm locked in here, I'm either setting up work for tomorrow or studying some sort of course on my computer. I think that just like leads to a lot of mental growth and
Like think about it. Like in a long enough frame, right? Let's say 2-3 years. Compare yourself if you didn't do what you were doing versus what you're doing, right? Like what do those two different situations look like?
I think again, it's to the example that you said about the planes. Like I could be getting off at 3 when I get off of work and going this way, but just by adding 3 more hours to the day, I like turn a little bit that way and I end up in Mexico on vacation.
Exactly. Literally, that's it. It's like, it's call me crazy, but it's a numbers game. Unfortunately,
everything is a numbers game.
Everything is a
as
numbers
long
game.
as you're doing it right. I think that quality does affect it being. I don't know if that makes sense. Like if you're doing work that is worth zero quality points, let's say, and you do a bunch of that work, it's not going to get you anywhere as opposed to the person that does a little bit of high quality work. But I think it takes both to be successful, quality and quantity.
Yeah, I agree and disagree with that because in order for you to know what your actual physical cap is, you gotta push yourself.
Yeah.
In terms of numbers, right? Well, I'll give you an example. If you only work 4 hours out of the day, you're probably gonna be like focused like 2, maybe 3 hours out of the 4. But if you push your work day to 8 hours, you're probably gonna be focused, maybe like high quality focus, like 5 or 6 hours realistically.
How about the person that just is focused 5 or 6 hours and works the 5 and 6 hours?
That's the thing.
That is the person that outruns everybody.
Exactly. And
I think focus is a skill.
And it is, bro.
And it's a learnable skill. A lot of people, and like I get distracted easily when I'm locked in my office. Like nothing's distracting me.
Plus, I mean, your environment doesn't scream distractions, bro. Not even gonna lie.
Honestly, I kind of have a mess on my desk right now.
Dude, if that's a mess, then fuck. Fuck, I have a jungle. No, what I mean is like it's almost impossible to work here, like literally in your desk, and be distracted.
I was thinking about having my Xbox here, and then I was like,
dude, no, big mistake.
I'm gonna leave it in my room. Yeah.
If you work from home and you have your console or your phone with you while you work, that's not the best.
That's kind of why I'm also hesitant about getting couches here because I don't even think they'd be that big of a distraction.
I don't think so.
But I'm scared of it. Which maybe it's smart to be scared of it, but I don't like.
Or you can just leave them outside and
yeah.
bring them in like every weekend or something.
Yeah, that's facts.
Well.
But I think that could be good for reading too. I need a light in here because it's super dark.
Yeah.
Right.
Next purchase.
We didn't even touch on the new desk setup.
Oh, that's right. So
we changed everything.
ChatGPT helped us.
Yeah.
Right. It was ChatGPT, the one that decided for us. We can try the other one too and see how that works too.
I know this one's better. Honestly, I think so. But
yeah, I think it's something new. I think I like it.
Yeah, I think we're gonna keep it like this. This is I feel like we're actually talking to each other now.
Yeah, there you go.
It used to be like we're talking to the camera like strictly.
Yeah, it was like hard. Yeah, I agree. But I mean, we're at the end of the podcast. Is there something else that you wanna you want to say to the people? Some actionable items?
Yeah, I think I just want to touch super briefly and like run through everything we talked about. How being scared is keeping you broke, and it's keeping, like, maybe it kept us broke and maybe it's still keeping us broke because we're not doing other things
Right.
out of fear. But if you have a business idea in mind, just take the risk right now. Or if you have any ideas, anything you want to do, take the risk if it's not going to hurt you, because odds are that if you suck at it for 100 days, you're going to become exceptional at it.
Alex Hermosi.
Yeah.
And I think we pretty much touched on everything. I personally would just say, dude, just stop being a little bitch. No, I'm just playing. But no, I think if you feel like if you have this one thing that you want to do and you're just it's been lingering around your mind, just act on it. I don't think you're gonna regret it afterwards. And even if you fail, you're gonna learn that you had the courage to actually act on it, and that means a lot to oneself. But yeah, I mean, if you're watching this video, please comment something, maybe something that we can feature on the next video. What else do you think would be good for people to do in terms of interaction with our video?
Yeah, leave a comment. If you have any ideas for the next podcast or things you want to hear about or personal experiences,
Yeah.
leave that down. We'll do that.
Eventually, I feel like we should have a segment where we get like comments and then just try and give our opinion on those comments, like towards the end of the podcast or something.
That'd be cool.
That'd be cool. But
we need comments for that.
We need comment first. I just thought of that, but I just want to put it out there. But yeah, I mean, that's it. I don't think you have anything else, right?
Yeah, no, that's pretty much it, and we'll catch you guys next time.
See ya.
Bye.